This is a Harper Guys production.
The Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen. If I was informed correctly, the clock is ticking. Is that right, Jimmy?
But good luck arguing that in court. Let me get down to brass tacks.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. How much for the ape?
Jack, let's just cut the crap and get down to brass tacks here.
Are you hating on Neil Diamond?
Holy fuck Neil Diamond.
Our dream of deathmatch is going to come to fruition, and my golden ticket is going to pay off. Hoo-ah. Don't you fucking hoo-ah me, motherfucker.
I want the ability to time travel.
Dumb. This is stupid. Welcome to the Hopper, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jake. With me, as always, my co-host Adam.
That's right.
Coming at you tonight for episode number
89.
All right.
89.
Thanks for hopping on this ride with us. We're going to give you the dime tour on the PSA tonight.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Before we move along.
Let's do this. Episode 89. Visit us at theharperguys.com. Once there, you can find our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channel Winks.
YouTube.
You can also find us everywhere podcasts are found.
Yeah.
By the way, go to our YouTube channel right now and click the subscribe. For fuck's sake, click the fucking subscribe.
Why not?
That's all I got. That's
Hey,
the PSA.
Nice and fucking
Thank
short.
you all for joining us.
That's right. As you can see, he's drinking a Miller Lite, correct?
A giant beer.
A Miller Lite. Now, I saw a commercial the other night. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
It doesn't taste very good, by the way.
Made me think of you, though. I know, because you're used to craft beer now, so I respect that. But it's January, so you got to drink light beer in January, right?
Is that right? It's like don't wear white after fucking Labor Day. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's like January, and for the overachievers, like the first week of February, you drink light beer because you're being healthier, and then you regress back every year. So, but no, there's a commercial
Well, then
that
I'm doing it on purpose.
I applaud you. Yes. There's a commercial out right now that a guy grabs a 12-pack of Mick Ultra. Have you seen it?
I don't know.
He grabs a 12-pack of Mick Ultra and sets it up there on the counter like a crappy convenience store. The guy don't even look up. He goes, Miller Lite's only got one more calorie, right? And he takes the 12-pack of the Mick Ultra back and grabs it.
That's not a new commercial.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Well,
I have seen that, and it made me laugh.
Well, you know what? That commercial was not on during a football game, so there's an 86% chance I haven't watched another regular program that wasn't on demand or on Netflix to where I could have seen it.
I believe it was on when a football game was on.
And I'm not even really Southern, so I don't know why I'm talking like this tonight.
I don't know.
And I apologize.
You know what time it is, Jake?
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
It's time to get down to brass motherfucking tacks.
Here we go. What are we starting with tonight?
Holy shit. Christmas 11 months early. By the way, newsflash. If you don't like sports, you're not going to like the first three quarters. If you like politics, you're going to like the last quarter. So hang on.
And there's a few things sprinkled in the middle.
And a few sprinkles. Because sprinkles are for winners. And God damn it, if your name's not Joe Biden, you're a fucking winner. All right, anyways.
Whoa.
Joe Biden's a cheat. He's not a winner. Anyways.
I feel like you just committed elder abuse, but maybe I don't know.
I did. Did you see his... anyways.
Anywho.
Christmas 11 months early for the Cleveland area. Or I should say it's possible that Christmas is going to come early for all of the AFC North teams minus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Tell me more. What happened?
They're interviewing Hue Jackson for the offensive coordinator position. I'm so hoping they hire him.
That dude can't coordinate an order at McDonald's. How the fuck is he going to coordinate an offense like Pittsburgh? There is some talent on it. He doesn't know how to handle talent. Hey, You know what? We see how well Joe Hayden's worked out for you there, Pittsburgh. He's a real world beater out there in the secondary these days. If getting beat for touchdowns is a world beater, so cool. Anybody else you want from the old days in Cleveland? Can we rustle up Tim Couch to be your quarterbacks coach, maybe?
Well, what else do I have wrote down here?
Tell me more.
Yeah, please, ha ha ha. Please hire him.
Yeah.
That would be great.
So-
because the ship is not completely sinking in Pittsburgh, but it is listing a little bit. It's starting to list, and wait, did you hear that? Trump just said "fuck you, Big Ben." Did you hear?
Oh.
He just said "fuck you."
No, I didn't. But
yeah, he did.
I believe him.
And good riddance. Hopefully, so the situation.
He's
is,
coming back. He already said he's coming back.
No. I'm not saying he's not.
Roethlisberger, by the way,
Right.
not Trump.
I'm not saying he's not coming back. There's been talk and speculation that if he comes back as a Steeler, that they're not going, even if he restructures, he's going to have to restructure so badly that they're still going to have a really hard time with the cap and all that jazz.
Oh yeah, they got some guys that are going to be going away.
Yes. So once again, the ship is listing. So the other news is they just, and we had talked about this.
We did.
And matter of fact, I think Jake should be able to go on record. I could probably show you my text messages that as soon as I saw he was released, I messaged this guy and said, he's going to fucking end up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I said...
That is Dwayne Haskins, former Buckeye, former Washington Redskins quarterback.
Whoa. There is no such thing as a Washington Redskin quarterback.
Washington football team
you
quarterback.
white supremacist, you.
Yes, I'm also an Indians fan, which I just read a message from Paul Dolan. What, did you hear that? Trump just said, "Fuck you, Paul Dolan." Trump, by the way. If you haven't noticed, that Trump just said, "Fuck you, Paul Dolan."
But he actually did when Dolan made the announcement, so.
Did he?
He didn't actually say "fuck you," but he came out and said that he disagreed with the decision and thought it was the bad decision.
He did.
But we can get into that in a minute. So
Right.
let's go back to the Steelers.
Yes.
And the AFC North. Why did Christmas come early?
Because if they hire Hue Jackson
they're in trouble.
as an OC, they may do okay, but it won't be great. Trust me.
And clearly Pittsburgh may not go all the way to the 1-15 realm here, but
Probably not.
They've probably got a couple hard years coming. I mean, they're going to draft well because Pittsburgh historically drafts incredibly well.
Yeah.
But they have some glaring holes on that team, and they have a whole bunch of age. They're one of the oldest teams in the league, and it's becoming a problem.
They're not doing things smart. They should have had Ben's backup, and maybe they thought the two guys that are in there now.
Yeah.
Is it Hodge and the other guy that got his head hit with the helmet?
Rudolph.
Is it Hodge and Rudolph? Are those the backups?
It's Dobson and Rudolph.
Dobson. Okay.
Dobson is the athletic one that doesn't throw the ball that well. Rudolph throws the ball okay, but holds on to it too long and is a.
Actually, in the first game against Cleveland at the end of the year, Rudolph didn't look too bad.
That's what I'm saying.
He didn't look too bad, but we have seen him look really bad.
But he's no Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like that's the kind of level. Like that would be the absolute top of the heap he could ever become, and he wouldn't. And he's not even going to become that good.
Right. So
Haskins is an interesting pickup for him.
I think you put Haskins under the right coach, he should be very successful.
He was on a jacked up Washington team for a total of a year and a half.
Yeah.
Most of you might not even know who Terry McLaurin is. Very good wide receiver, but easily their best wide receiver. And then after that, what?
Right.
You know what I mean? To where they just drafted a young rookie that had a really good year as a running back to where he's going to be good. But like that team has a lot of money invested in their defense. I don't know what happened with Haskins there, why they decided to move on from him.
I think there might be a little bit of attitude, which I don't really see that from him, but there might be a little bit of attitude.
Yeah.
Clashing, maybe ideas, whatever, thoughts, whatever. I don't know. We don't know. Now, first thought was, fuck, they're going to get Haskins. He's going to become his second team. He's going to become an all-star.
He might.
And whoop us for years, or attempt to whoop us for years, because Browns are getting a little bit better. But anyways, interesting. But if they bring in, but then the flip side of that is if they bring in Hue Jackson,
it's going to hit whatever growth he could possibly have.
Haskins will be out of the league in 2 years because of fucking Hue Jackson.
Right. I mean, you look at Haskins in college and Johnny Manziel in college. Hugh couldn't handle Johnny Manziel, and Haskins wasn't as good as Manziel in college. He was good, but he didn't have the kind of career numbers Manziel
Well,
had.
Manziel
the laser
had-
rocket arm.
He had flair and he was out of control and yeah, fuck you, Johnny.
Yeah.
He had flair and charisma and all that stuff
Yeah.
you want, but the big stage was too big for Manziel.
He didn't exactly have world beaters all around, but I agreed.
Yeah.
Wrong guy, wrong time, wrong everything. So, anything else about the Steelers, or you want to get into being a little bit happy about your Browns for a minute?
Well, we'll get into the Browns here in a minute, but what else did I have about that? Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I did love the that before the game.
Oh.
I did love that before the Browns playoff game with Pittsburgh, that Juju came out and said that they're all gray faces in Cleveland. That it's the same team, different year, the same results going to happen. And then after the game, all
Well,
the
no, but he had a tagline: "Browns is the Browns."
right, Browns is the Browns. So then after the game, a lot of the Browns players are you going to talk about this? 'Cause
No.
I don't want.
No.
I didn't know if you had this on your list. So that they all start posting all the Browns.
Browns
players
is the
after-
Browns.
Yeah, after they whoop Pittsburgh in that game, that's what they're posting with. Browns is the Browns. Browns are the Browns. And then before last week's game, their new up-and-coming young beast of a wide receiver.
He is.
Cannot deny this kid's talent.
No.
He's going to be a problem for a decade coming out of Pittsburgh. I love him. I hate that he's a Steeler. Chase Claypool. He come out after that game, and after seeing all the tweets, he got mad as a 22-year-old child and said, you know what? I'm just glad that the Browns are going to get clapped next week to see exactly who they are. And then Cleveland goes out and
Almost wins.
plays a one-possession game
Yeah.
with Kansas City. But I will say this. Again, I don't want to steal too much of your
You're
thunder,
not.
but the one thing that I was very excited about that game for Cleveland, they got down 19-3 in the game, okay, before Mahomes went out of the game on a totally clean hit. Anybody freaking out saying it's not, because some people have
Yeah.
lost their mind. I hope he makes it back to play this week. I would hate to see them have to play
Sure.
Buffalo.
I would too.
I'm rooting for Buffalo, but
Right.
I want these teams at full strength at this time of year.
Amen.
And I'm glad Mahomes is okay. I was not rooting for Mahomes to get hurt as much as it kind of benefited the Browns in that game. Mahomes isn't somebody that we hate or have anything
No.
against. He's the face of the league
He's
right
easy
now.
to like, by the way.
He is. He's a great guy for the league. I hate to say, but I'm a fan of him being the fan of the NFL, the face of the NFL. He's got it all, right? But what I liked about the game, Cleveland fought. They got back in the game. But when they were down 19-3 and Kansas City was moving the ball all over them, what it did was it took off the mask of Cleveland being a great team. Cleveland is a very good team, but they got shown again that they have some holes to work on. The worst thing that can happen to a team, and I watched it happen in Jacksonville, I watched it happen in Chicago, is when you get a win or two that maybe you shouldn't have in the playoffs, you end up in a conference championship game to where you're one step from a Super Bowl. All of a sudden, people around your franchise think, "Oh man, we're right there. We need to add a punter and maybe a backup left guard, and like we're good to make a run." They're not there yet, and I'm glad that they got down 19-3 against a team that's running up and down the field on them to see, hey, we got to make some changes on defense to compete for an actual Super Bowl, which is what this team's goal. It's not
sure.
about winning a game and opening a cooler
No,
or winning 6 games or 8 games and being 500. This team has championship ambitions now, and I'm glad that they could see that there were some faults.
No, and this is great. We are literally set up for the next, barring massive injuries or an idiotic owner firing somebody.
Right.
We are set up for the next 5 to 10 years.
For sure.
So it could be a great next, like I said, 5 to 10 years.
Right.
I'm shooting small. Great next 5 years and see what happens. For sure, that's guaranteed. But no, like you said, their defense let Kansas City walk up and down. I mean, and yes, they had a couple contested third downs, but you just had you knew Kansas City was going to make the first down.
Right.
You just did. At 3rd and 6, you're like, throw it to number 10. No one can stop him.
Right.
So, no, 100%. But they did have I don't think they even stopped them in the first half once.
They didn't punt until the end of the third quarter, if I remember right.
Yeah. Now, Butker, is he the kicker?
Yeah, he helped them,
He missed 4 points in the first half.
which he don't do.
No. And then, yeah. And Parkey, it looked great in the last 3 games. Thank you, Mr. Parkey, because that guy scares me to death.
I'll tell you what, him getting that first field goal from 41 yards in was huge for him.
Yeah.
Because the last kick that he had in a playoff game was the double doink.
The double doinker.
So I was glad to see him. There's a lot of people in Chicago that still hate that guy to death.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, but it's one play. You can't drum 60 minutes down to one play. So as frustrating as he was with that, I was glad for him, glad for Cleveland, and I hope that he becomes that kicker that they can ride. He's a veteran with a big leg.
Well, whether it's Parkey or not, the Browns better get a solid kicker, and I think Parkey can be that guy.
Yeah,
with some success now, I think he can be that guy. But yes, the defense. We got a guy. Greedy Williams is a safety, right?
Greedy's the corner.
Oh, I thought he was a safety.
No, the other guy's the safety.
So Greedy's a corner. We got Ward. Ward played about half the year. Great cornerback, but he played about half the year. Greedy didn't play at all.
Yeah.
And then we had
who's the young kid that they drafted that blew out his Achilles in training camp?
Was that Gilbert or something?
Is it something like that? But he's like a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Big hitter. Like he's the safety of the future if they get these guys back healthy.
Yeah. And
but they still need more help back there.
They still need more help in the secondary for sure.
And linebacker.
And they need a ruthless linebacker. And
not really ruthless. They just need a side-to-side linebacker. Yeah, a guy that can hustle sideline to sideline, make the tackles.
Because for if nothing else, 1 game or 2 games a year against the ninja from Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody that can hunt, a Luke Kuechly type guy that can hunt him down a couple times and make him think twice about sprinting up through the middle of that pocket.
Yes.
That's what they need.
Because right now, Lamar Jackson, he doesn't run all over everybody, but he runs his ass all over the Browns. Every time. We just can't stop him. Guys are turned around. They're fucked.
He was hurt this year and had COVID and still rushed for over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
First quarterback ever to do it in back-to-back seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He does run all over everybody.
Yes.
He has a game here and there where he doesn't, but on a whole, he runs all over everybody.
They looked like dog shit against Buffalo.
Again, that's one of those. That was more Buffalo being Buffalo than Baltimore. Anybody that thinks that Kansas City is going to destroy Buffalo this weekend, reevaluate the way you think about that. I staying with my pick that I made before the playoffs that Buffalo is going to win the Super Bowl. But Buffalo is the team. Buffalo's that good.
I said in front of these bright lights that obviously I'm rooting for the Browns, but if I had a plan B, it was Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now that's a heart pick, not a statistic pick.
Right. For me, it's a gameplay, watching these teams. I mean, I've watched a lot of Buffalo football this year.
I really think
they're really, really good.
Yeah, they're good.
Both sides of the ball.
I think I'm not saying anything to to put down Kansas City. Obviously, they're an amazing football team.
Right.
But I still think the Browns and Buffalo would have been a really fun game. I do.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, both of those teams have a lot to gain.
Yes. Can you imagine 2 teams that have had one hasn't been to a Super Bowl,
right?
Even though they've been and won many championships.
We get
clarification. But the Buffalo Bills, I don't believe have ever won a Super Bowl, but they've been to 4.
0-4.
So how much fun would it have been for the Cleveland and the Bills, or the Cleveland and Buffalo, to go at it just to see who can get there and have another shot,
right?
Or a shot.
But whoever would have won that game, they get either Brady or fucking Rodgers on the other end of it.
The reason why I would have liked that game more, because at the end of it, whoever's celebrating, even though as a Browns fan, if the Bills would have beaten the Browns, obviously I would have been like, fuck, this sucks. But I kind of, at the end of the game, there's a part of me that it's usually when I'm watching 2 teams I don't have any bias against.
Yeah.
Or at much bias, I should say. But the genuine feeling of winning and being so glad, like, okay, you've got the Kansas City Chiefs and you've got the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
If Kansas City wins, fuck yeah, they're going to be happy they made it to the Super Bowl. But they're also coming off of a championship year. So it's not going to be like, oh my God! But for the Bills, it will be. For the Browns, it would have been.
Right.
So that emotion, that raw emotion and that excitement that you see, that's to me, that's
right.
what brings me back to watch.
Right. For teams and their respective cities that have never had that.
Right.
Yeah, it's something different. But what we got now? So we got Buffalo left holding that banner.
Yes.
And then 3 other teams that are just legacy building at this point.
Right.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun weekend of football. And I think no matter who wins these 2 games, it's going to be one of those years where we have a good Super Bowl.
It should be.
I mean, there's 4 really good teams left. I don't care what anybody thinks about Tampa Bay, because they were one of those teams. They had like a little bit of a swoon in the middle of the season. I think at one point they went like 3.
They were 7-5 at one point.
Yeah, they went through like 3 and 4 over like 1 7-game period, and everybody was like, "Oh, all that talent's not working out." They're for real. That team is for real, and they looked incredible against the Saints last weekend.
Yeah. So to get back on track, just a
Oh,
little
sorry,
bit.
no,
You're all right.
Reel me in.
So the Dwayne Haskins thing to Pittsburgh, I was like, at the same time, I was like, But at this point, which we haven't talked about, at first I would have been like, But then there's this talks of Deshaun Watson wanting out of Texas. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Don't fucking let that happen. Where Deshaun Watson gets maybe a trade for Ben Roethlisberger.
Disagree.
You think Dwayne is better than Deshaun?
I don't think that Dwayne is better than Deshaun, obviously. Deshaun Watson is probably somewhere around the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th best quarterback in the league. He's a top 10 guy for sure. He had an amazing 4,000-yard season. But he had a 4,000-yard season for Houston. Their main running back, David Johnson, was hurt almost the entire season. They had 3 really good wide receivers and a good tight end, and their defense is so bad that they were losing in every game to where all Watson did was throw the ball all year. The other thing about it is I actually wouldn't mind seeing him go to Pittsburgh. The reason being this. The price tag on that guy, he's 25 years old, in his prime, three Pro Bowls already. They're saying the price tag on him is 3 first-round picks. There's only ever been one trade in the history of the NFL that was one player for 3 first-round picks. You have any idea who it was?
I have no idea.
That player was Herschel Walker being traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Minnesota Vikings. Do you know who those 3 first-round picks turned into?
For the Dallas Cowboys?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm going to guess Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Irving.
Those were the 3 picks. So there's a lot of people
I got him right!
You did.
Woo!
So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you want to mortgage your first-round pick for the next 3 years? Especially on a team. Pittsburgh's got wide receivers. He'll have guys to throw the ball to. They currently don't have a running back worth a damn anywhere.
So what you're saying is it would end up sinking Pittsburgh in the long run?
Oh, yes. I watched Chicago give 2 first-round draft picks for Cutler. People forget what Cutler was in Denver before he had the problems and wanted out.
True.
Multiple 4,000-yard seasons all over the place. Like, Cutler was a legit elite quarterback for a short period of time.
I don't know about elite, but he was pretty good.
Oh, no. That dude was easy a top 10 quarterback. He was a franchise quarterback, and those guys don't come available very often. I'm not hating on Deshaun Watson, but if you're going to get that guy and give up 3 first-round picks for him, you better have the greatest farm system in the history of football and be able to sign free agents that are cheap that really produce. So whoever gets him, I would love to see him in Chicago, but not at that price tag. I've seen Chicago do it for Cutler and for Mack, and it's killed us both times. You need your first-round picks in this version of the league. So let them do what they want to do. That's my opinion on that.
Okay. Well, either way, then I think I'm all right. So moving on, but staying in the NFL.
Yes.
Urban Meyer.
Yes.
The former OSU Buckeyes head coach. Now,
Yeah.
it's a little bit concerning, disappointed. He left the game, quote unquote, for health reasons.
Yeah.
The NCAA football coaching job.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very disrespectful, even after a couple years when people are asking him to be coaching here and there, because obviously if you're asking him this, and I mean, I said it on the show that then obviously you don't care about his health and you don't.
How much have you read about it though?
No, but what I'm saying is
the same thing happened to him in Florida. He's a guy that he put so much into it that he's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. And he wins everywhere he goes, to where he's not going to be the Jaguars head coach for 15 years. It isn't fucking happening. He's going to be even if they're successful, he's going to be a 4, 5, maybe 6-year head coach. And that's it, because of the stress that it puts on him, because of the way that he approaches it all, to where that's when his health starts breaking down, and it's all stress related. To where he's admitted that that's a problem.
Why would he go and put himself through it? I mean, obviously
Because now he feels good again and he wants to do it. There's guys that just can't stop.
Well, I get it. It's what he does, and
Yeah.
I understand that. But man, you got to get with the psychiatric dude and lay on the chair and figure this shit out so you can maybe have I mean, he's not an old guy. I mean, maybe he could do this for the next 10 years if he freaking figured out how to do it.
He'll be good there. He develops talent. He got talent for years at every school he was at, and he took kids and turned them into superstars.
And I'm not saying he won't be good.
Yeah. So what's the other intriguing part of him getting hired there?
Well, he's got the number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
Right. Which is pretty consensus at this point.
Sure. Everybody prior to Urban Meyer getting hired in Jacksonville, all said Trevor Lawrence, number one. Then there was some question marks after Trevor Lawrence got his ass beat by the Buckeyes. Would Fields go number one?
No.
Most people still said no. But I think it's still very interesting because I think it's maybe it's not a conflict of interest that Urban Meyer would take Trevor Lawrence, but I think it a little bit.
I don't.
I mean, I know it's apples to oranges. NFL to the college football game is apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Yes, they're the same players. They all went to college.
Yeah.
But they all have matured and they got a lot better in the pros.
Yeah.
But I still think there is great respect for Fields from Urban Meyer. And I think that there is I know you were going to sit here and say there's no possibility that Urban Meyer takes Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence, but I think there's a small. No one would have said in the
The only way that happens is if he trades.
I'm still saying when the Browns had the number one pick and they took Baker Mayfield, no one saw that fucking coming.
Well, that's because there was 4 guys that were all being considered for it.
Right.
This guy has been the consensus for number 1 overall pick in this draft for 3 years.
I know.
Everybody knew it was coming.
Everybody watched it, including Urban Meyer, who's up in the stadium, watched Fields totally wreck that team.
I'm just saying. It's not going to matter. Lawrence is going number 1 no matter what happens. If Meyer wants Fields, he's going to trade out of that spot. And he's going to get some draft picks, which wouldn't hurt Jacksonville. So the question is, do Fields and, say, an extra first-round pick, is that a better situation for the team than Lawrence?
I don't know. I don't know what's better for the Jaguars.
Only time will
I'm
tell.
just talking. To me, it's made the draft a little interesting. So we'll see.
Here's my take. Imagine for 1 minute that Leonardo DiCaprio and Charlize Theron, my wife's a big fan, right? 2 incredibly beautiful people that are very different people. If they were Amish and they had an arranged marriage, no matter how different they are, even if they don't like each other, they're having beautiful kids. There ain't no two ways about it. And that's what you're going to get. When you have a highly talented quarterback.
You calling Justin Fields ugly?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying because it almost feels like an arranged marriage. Bringing Urban Meyer together with Lawrence. Lawrence doesn't have a choice in the entire thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? He goes wherever he gets drafted. It's going to be what it's going to be. What I'm telling you is no matter what, they're going to coexist well, and that team's going to start winning. Especially in that division.
Maybe it's because I'm a Buckeyes fan, but I think Buckeye Nation it'll only last for like 10 minutes, but they'll frown upon Urban taking Lawrence.
I don't think
for
so.
a hot minute.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they will.
Urban will always be a hero in Columbus, no matter what. He didn't do anything in Columbus to hurt them. Like all he did was make that team better while he was down there. Whatever he does from then on, they're always going to be happy for him. He's always going to have that championship hanging down there. Urban Meyer is a legend and will always be so. Unless he says something derogatory about the school, nothing's going to change the way that Ohio State fans feel about him. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
And if something happens to where Urban Meyer does not take or trades or whatever,
yeah,
I would not be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, if I was Urban Meyer, I'd be, geez, I got a lotto pick here. What do I do?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a head scratcher. Maybe he takes Lawrence and he's like, fuck it. That's what I would have done 1,000 times over 1,000 times.
It's what's going to happen. Yeah. That's the guy.
But if it doesn't, you heard it here first.
Hey, I think Fields is going to be amazing at the next level. I think he's going to be the best Ohio State quarterback ever in the NFL. I honestly believe that.
I mean, I don't know how many there have been that have been all that successful.
Not that many. I mean,
No.
you have to go back through a long period of time.
I mean, Krenzel came in, played for your Bears for a little bit.
Won some games, but he won games on a team that was built on defense. Don't fucking turn it over, Craig.
He was not an NFL caliber
right.
quarterback.
I mean, but none of them were. Joe Germain, he was. I mean, he played for the Rams for how many years, and he had some decent games, but he was never going to be the guy. Troy Smith won a Heisman Trophy, was never going to be the guy. You know, J.T. Barrett. I used to love. We got a friend of ours named Tyler Nagel, that I used to tease. You know. I don't think that Barrett's the greatest quarterback of all time, but I knew that he hated him as a Buckeye fan. So every time Barrett would throw 4 touchdowns, I'd be like, the GOAT came through again, and just get him going. And it was always super fun. So, But yes, Terrell Pryor. I mean, like, this list is long of guys that were really, really good, you know. Now, Ohio State fans 15 years from now are going to remind everybody that they did have Joe Burrow and that Joe Burrow could not win the starting job from Justin Fields.
How the fuck did that not happen?
Because Justin Fields is that good.
Right.
And Joe Burrow at that point in time wasn't. Joe Burrow was always getting better throughout college. He couldn't beat him out. They were very close. I mean, that competition went all the way up until the week before the first game of the season, before he announced who the starter was, because they were both going to be that good. He enters the portal, goes to a team that loves to throw the ball over the field and has 3 wide receivers that are going to be first-round picks. It's easy to flourish in that. Not taking anything away from Burrow, I think Burrow is part of the future of the NFL. The Browns division is going to be murderer's row for the next 10 years.
Can't fucking wait.
Do
we even know if Joe Burrow's going to be coming back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's projected to be ready to go for the beginning of the season. He's
Good for
already rehabbing. Oh, definitely good for him. Good for football. Love Joe Burrow.
Now that we've got through this season, because everybody knew this could have been the biggest shit show of all time. Now that they actually got through the season and they're in the playoffs, and the Browns did exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Now I can root for Joe Burrow, because had things gone awry and the Bengals finished better than the Browns and Joe Burrow didn't get hurt and then the Browns are in last place, I'd have been like, fuck Joe Burrow. But no, I like where we're all at here in the NFC North. AFC North.
I don't know if you like where you're at, because there's going to be 3 teams that are battling this out for a while.
I love it, because I would much rather see, for the last how many years you had
Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
And then
during the Palmer years, remember those Cincinnati teams were getting in to the playoffs every year. And Cincinnati and Pittsburgh had those knockdown, drag out, hate each other games.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Palmer and then even Kitna? Like, there was like a 4 or 5 year period. I think they made the playoffs 3 or 4 times in that period of time.
But I'm saying like the last 5 years.
Oh, they've been bad.
With Andy Dalton, and the Browns have been an afterthought, obviously. Right. But Andy Dalton was okay, and you were just like, man, it's a Red Rocket. He's going to do it. No, he never did it. And, they would have, probably 7-9 records all the time, and just not enough to get there.
Right.
And the Browns were in the shit house. And so you had Pittsburgh. Even as a football fan, it's just like, okay, this is just stupid. Now all of a sudden, the AFC North is quite possibly, for the next few years, the best division in football.
I mean, if you think about it this way, if for as bad as Cleveland and Cincinnati were, okay, let's say that Pittsburgh and Baltimore both go 2-0 against both of them. That's 4-0, and then they split with each other. Let's just say that's 5-1. All they have to do is go 5-5 over the other 10 games on their schedule, and they're 10-6 and in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Cleveland's not going to have that benefit in this division. Cincinnati might be down again next year. I'm telling you what, within the next 2 years-ish, if Burrow is healthy, that team's going to be right there with Baltimore and Cleveland. Sure. It's going to be one of those divisions.
So the biggest question mark is Pittsburgh right now.
I mean, they might be looking at some cellar dweller time.
The records they show against the Steelers after the merger, it's ridiculous.
Well, not after the merger. After they came back.
No, they said they were showing statistics after the merger.
Oh, Cleveland was way ahead until they left. They were up by like 13 games.
Right. Well, maybe that's what it was then.
But then since Ben's been there and the Browns came back, what was Ben? 22-3?
No, I think it was 21, 1 tie and 1 loss
before the playoff game.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So 3 games that he didn't win out of 25. I mean, that will skew the numbers on anything on a run like that.
So, I guess the biggest elephant in the room here, Ben Roethlisberger crying after the game. Sitting there with Pouncey, who pretty much fucked up the whole game on one hike.
But, I mean, he set the stage for it. I mean, there were still only 14 seconds gone in the game when Cleveland had a touchdown.
Oh, my God. I yelled so loud. I was texting my one other Browns fan or friend, and he's like, I said, I think the cops just got called on me. And he's like, well, good luck.
I thought it was a trick play for a second. Because when it happened, I thought that it was like a direct snap or something that they fooled the camera. Because I couldn't believe that snap went 6 feet. I mean, it wasn't like it barely skipped. It was so far over his head. Like, there was no coming back from that.
Yeah.
But that was awesome.
And then the Ravens did that last week.
Yeah, they did.
Towards the end of the game.
Had a bad snap.
And then that's what got I think that's when he got hurt.
When Jackson got hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that snap.
I mean, I will say this about Jackson is Mayfield and Burrow are going to be in this division for a long time. They are going to run for 22 yards a game when they need to get a first down and stuff like that. I think in order for Jackson to keep this up, he needs to bulk up a little, put on about 10, 15 pounds for the durability factor, and then end up running less as the years go on, or his longevity just isn't going to be there.
Well, I think about there's only been a few quarterbacks like him.
One. There's only been one.
Well, but I'm saying there's been more that have had success, just not in the long term.
There's
I mean,
only one.
RG3 came out.
He had one season.
That's what I'm saying.
Got his knee blown out, was never the same.
That's where I'm getting to.
So there's one guy.
No, what I'm getting to
Vic.
is Michael
Vic's
Vick.
the only one.
But you're not letting me finish.
I'm trying.
Let me motherfucking talk. So I'm saying he's one bad knee injury or something from removing that part of his game. Not completely, but like he is now, where he can just outrun everybody.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. How do you feel as a Buckeye fan that the Ravens cut Mark Ingram the other day? So now one of the guys you're going to be rooting against for the next decade is your boy Dobbins.
I'm going to root against him regardless, whether he was a Buckeye or not. I'm not going to root for the Ravens. The Baltimore City stole our team.
But I'm telling you,
come on, man.
But Dobbins wasn't part of that team moving. Like, there isn't part of you that, like, isn't going to be like, oh, I hate Baltimore, but I still love Dobbins.
No, because I tell you why.
I don't like Ohio State and Dobbins is shit.
Listen, Dobbins, you need to be your own guy. Just because Zeke did this doesn't mean you should do this. Do your own fucking thing. Do two spoons. Do something different. You're not Zeke. You're pretty good, but you're not Zeke.
Time's going to tell. I think he's going to be better than Zeke.
Zeke did this. Dobbins did this, or tried to do that. Don't do that. Do something different. Pray. So do something different.
Dobbins going to be good. So one more thing that we got to talk about the Browns.
Yes. Kevin Stefanski.
Yes.
Now, it's not the official NFL Coach of the Year, but he got some sporting news Coach of the Year.
He's going to get them both.
He should.
Yeah.
Now, although I did watch this because I looked real quick before the show. I guess the Buffalo coach is a new coach too.
He's not brand new this year. This is his second or third year. McDermott.
So
he's legit too.
And Andy Reid said that he gave his nod to that guy.
It's it's like 1 and 1A. Whoever wins it, the other guy's right there.
Yeah.
But they're far and away the top two choices.
But if Stefanski does get it, pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. And the thing that I love about him is we finally have our connection at quarterback and coach.
Yes. You got your young quarterback that's listen, this is going to be Baker Mayfield's first offseason with the same playbook as when he left the season prior.
Scary.
Okay? It's just going to make him that much better. He answered all the question marks that were asked on the offseason. Oh, was it just a sophomore slump, or was he just come out like a lion and he's fizzling out? Well, he answered all that. He looked really good in the second half of that game against Kansas City. He looked really good against Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I'm ecstatic that it just won't be a waste of 3 hours every Sunday like the previous 15 years.
Yeah. If nothing else, the second half of this season, I was glad for the validation for Baker. I felt like Baker would, because he's outspoken, because he's confident. I felt like he kind of gotten a raw deal from the media and some of that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, you got all these commercials and you're not winning any games. Blah blah blah. Because his sophomore season was rough with everything that went on. I was glad to see him be as good as he was down the stretch. I mean, 22 touchdowns to 2 interceptions over the last 9 games of the season. Best QBR in the NFL during that time.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great to see him. I'm excited for him going up. But Stefanski, thank God we lucked into that guy. I mean, you talk, and he's not even 40.
I know, he's 38. Can you imagine it? This guy could,
20 years he should be here.
He could easily coach, and if he coached even 10 years, I don't get too crazy here, but you're ringing the Super Bowl bell at least once or twice there. You got to.
You got to believe he's going to get him there at some point.
At least get him there. If not, ring the bell once or twice.
Boy, could you imagine ringing that bell? Whew.
So the Sporting News put that out on Twitter. And I'm just researching this just real quick before this show.
Yeah.
And they show OBJ's tweet, and it shows Stefanski, Coach of the Year, and it says, and his OBJ's, duh. So pretty funny.
How do you feel about him?
I think probably the way it went down couldn't have been better. He got hurt. He had to watch this team do pretty well for a first time going into the playoffs. Nearly pull if they the frustrating part of that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, they knew Patrick wasn't coming back. They had the ball with 5 minutes to go and literally imploded. If they could have just been themselves and marched that ball down the field, they would have probably won the game. Because the other guy was good enough to get him into field goal range, but he wasn't good enough, I don't think, to march him down for a touchdown. Who was the back? Henney?
Yeah.
So I think that the Browns win the game if that happens. So that's where they failed. They kind of imploded. They did some weird plays.
But I'm talking about OBJ. How do you see him fitting in going forward?
Yeah, but for all that to happen the way it did, we could have used a guy like OBJ out there.
Right.
If nothing else, drawing some double teams to take some guys out of the box.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and let Chubb run crazy.
Yeah.
Or throw it to number 80 and just let Jarvis go nuts. So yeah, I mean that's a piece that if we had out there, I mean, most Browns fans would have been like, after play one, you lose Wills.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, you lose your left tackle, right?
Yes.
I mean, so Browns have been dealt a raw deal. Some of the deals are raw because of their own stupidity, but when you see this week in and week out, you're just like, what the fuck? But you know what? Still made a good game out of it.
Yeah.
But yes, I think if OBJ comes back, I think the fact that this team had success without him,
Yes.
I think is good because he has to realize that, man, I'm just another piece in this puzzle. If they utilize me properly and I don't run my mouth like a freaking prima donna.
I think what it did is it opened up everybody's eyes to see that OBJ doesn't need to be some kind of a savior
Right.
to this team. To where instead of all this pressure and having to make sure he gets his 15 targets a game and all that kind of stuff, I think that they saw, look, we can just run our offense. We can put this elite player in this position to thrive. I think with the tweets that you keep seeing from him and stuff like this, he's still a Brown. You know, there's a lot of speculation about him possibly getting moved. I hope personally, I felt differently before he got hurt. I kind of watched what was happening, was like, man, if they get rid of this guy, save the salary cap space, move on, you know, it might be better for the team. I think now he's going to go through this rehab. He doesn't have to be the savior. Even if he's not ready for the first couple weeks of the season, they don't have to rush him back because they feel like they need to. And he can become a real huge piece of this that pushes them to the next level on offense.
Do you know what he needs to be? I'm going to tell you exactly what he needs to be. He needs to be that 3rd and 4 guy, like 3rd down, 4 yards to go, just like number 10 on Kansas City. He gets in position just to get those quick, easy strikes, and they get the first down, the game's over, they win.
Yeah.
He needs to be that guy where they can depend on him every single time to go out, come back, catch the ball, fall down, win the game.
I'll go one step further. I think he needs to be just like Devontae Adams, to where I agree that's the catch that he has to be able to make game in, game out, the big catches, get that separation, but also, it's 2nd and 4 because Chubb just had a 6-yard run. Oh, look, there's play action, and OBJ just hit a 60-yard touchdown.
Yes.
Like, he needs to be able to do both. For the money he's getting paid, you got to be the guy that locks it down on 3rd and tight because you got to make that tight catch in a tight window and lean forward to get that first down, but also be the home run threat. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Browns are in a really good spot with their wideouts, barring everybody being healthy and non-COVID. I mean, Peoples-Jones, he's got some upside to him.
Yeah. Higgins, they got to get re-signed.
Higgins has got some upside. He's a big dude.
I like
He's
Higgins.
not some little tiny. He's not the little Higgins we used to have before.
Right.
He's a bigger Higgins.
Yes.
Then you even have Hodge run around, or did they lose Hodge?
I don't. He's not going to be part of the equation going forward.
But you put OBJ in there with Jarvis. Now, some people are saying that Jarvis might not be here long term. I hope he is. I think he is. I think that guy screams Cleveland all over the place, but maybe not.
He was, to me, if you go back, 3-4 years, I think he was the first piece of the culture change. He was a free agent, came to Cleveland, you know, for the money part of it, but he also, as soon as he got there, outspoken, super great teammate, does the lunch pail work, loves the team, pushing to get his buddy here. I mean, doing everything because he wants this team to succeed. You know, played extremely well in both playoff games.
Yes.
I mean, played very well the first half of the season, I think he gets a mulligan. He was hurt so bad, you know. I mean,
what was it? Game 3, he had a broken rib or a bruised rib.
Oh, he had a broken rib. He was coming off that hip surgery. You know what I mean? Like, he had a bunch of different things, but was still out there.
Guess
every
what?
game.
He never missed a game.
No, and by the end of the season, he was finally coming along, being healthy, and Jarvis was catching balls left and right. He dropped a couple, which are on him.
I think it was like one, but not many.
Just a couple here and there, but still. So they're in a good spot going forward.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Browns?
No.
Okay.
No, just Kevin Stefanski. If you get Coach of the Year, amen.
Yeah.
We deserve it.
Right. The last thing on Cleveland sports for the evening is, I know that this is a lot closer to your heart than it is mine. I do root for the Indians as well as my San Francisco Giants. I always root for the home teams. All my teams are in other cities, just based on how I grew up and things that I liked. But I hope that the Indians don't go back to the cellar. I mean, you got rid of your best feel-good story that this team's ever going to have in Carrasco, and I think that Carrasco's set up to have a very nice season going forward.
Cookie's a beast.
And you got rid of one of the best 5 players in the entire game for some prospects and shit like that. So I hope that Cleveland doesn't slide back into being irrelevant. Their division is going to be really good. I mean,
welcome to the 80s, Cleveland Indians.
They're going to have their hands full in the division with the White Sox and the Twins right now. I mean, both of those teams are going to be really good coming this next season.
I fucking hate.
They just need to be sold.
The Indians owner. I fucking hate him.
Yep.
He's a Cleveland boy.
Yeah.
He says his family grew up in Cleveland.
Right.
And he's just gonna fuck the team like a. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just so bad.
Right.
Why do you want to be the Art Modell of baseball managers? Why in the fuck do you want to be that guy? It's just you are sinking the fucking team. And I read the letter about the name change, and you said the most important name of our team is the Cleveland part. Okay, probably, but if the Braves aren't changing their fucking name and the Blackhawks aren't changing their fucking name, Indians is not a racial name.
Right. The Chiefs, Florida State.
It's not a racial name.
Well, tell them the story. Did we tell the story on the show?
Yes. There was a Indians player. I believe his last name was Sakalexis or something like that.
Yeah.
He was the best player on the team. They might have been called the Spiders at that time, and they decided to do a name change, and they named it on behalf of their best player,
who was a Native American,
who was I believe the first Native American to play the game and be really good at it. And in honor of him, they named the team Cleveland Indians.
Right. We're not just one awesome guy. We're all Indians, just like our number one player.
We wanted to all be the awesome Indian because he was the best.
Right. So
and so I think Paul Dolan, you fucking forget. Wait, did you hear that? Yeah, Trump just said "fuck you, Paul Dolan." You forget the tradition, or you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Frustrating. And you're getting pressure from the world. Well, no, the name Redskins that can be very disrespectful easily. There's not. I mean, you're literally talking about the color of their skin.
I hope that the team gets sold and the new owner resurrects.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yes. So,
but the Dolans notoriously run franchises into the ground.
Yes, they do.
So
try to make that money. They're not here to win. They're here to make money.
This is no surprise, and it's unfortunate.
It is.
Because, yes, the only upside, and there is only one, is the ticket prices will go down over the next 5 years if they completely go into the cellar. The bad part is we will lose our coach because he's not going to coach a shitty team. He's going to try his damnedest to keep this team at 500, and he's going to be lucky to keep them there at 500. And he may, I'm pretty sure baseball, no, you can't get into the playoffs at 500 unless your division is completely shit.
Right. So at the end of the day, thank you to the Cleveland Browns for finally being good again, because now it makes it easier to deal with the Indians and the Cavs not being there again.
Side note, this is nothing new to this city. When the Browns left or were stolen in 1994, 95 seasons, there was a huge void in Cleveland sports. And at that time, the Indians were on a rise.
Elite.
They had a brand new baseball stadium. They had amazing fucking young talent coming through the woodwork everywhere. Jim Thomas, Manny Ramirez, Albert Bell, Sandy Alomar, Omar Vizquel. You can just, the list goes on.
Kenny Lofton, Carlos Baerga.
Charles Nagy. The list just fucking goes on and on. Humongous class of players. And they were in the playoffs for the next decade. And it was awesome. And I'll probably never experience that again in my lifetime. It was absolutely a generational thing. And a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for him to steal all that,
Yeah.
it's just it. But that okay. So I was going back to the Browns left. The Indians had this huge sellout streak going for like 6 years, mainly because the Browns weren't there for 5 years. Almost the whole length of the sellout streak, and then the Browns started to come back, and I think also. The team wasn't as good. I think we had gotten rid of a couple people. I think Manny Ramirez might have just left.
Yep.
And and the show wasn't as magical as it used to be, but still it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But now, as I said, with the things coming full circle with Ben Roethlisberger beating us in 2002, the first time the Browns were in the playoffs from their new franchise, what was it, expansion team?
Yeah.
That they came back, they beat him to get into the playoffs, or no, beat him in the playoffs, and to get into the playoffs.
Yep.
Should never ever let a team that could be playing you get in. Note to self.
Well, at least try not to.
You should never.
Right.
And it was a close game without Ben Roethlisberger, but apparently we didn't realize how much. I did. I'm not on Facebook, but my wife is, and she's like, "Well, what should I write about the first quarter or the first half?" And I'm like, "Say
nothing."
No, I said, put this. Get a picture of Ben and say, "Here's our Browns MVP of the first half."
There you go.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Good stuff.
But anyways, so it's coming full circle. The Indians are going to go into the tank. Here comes the Browns. Guess what? The city's going to forget about the Indians for a little bit.
Right.
It's just going to happen.
Sure. Everybody's ready for training camp.
Yep.
So that's all I got on all of those things.
Oh, my God. But you know what? Nothing goes with sports like beer and hot wings. And on the hot wings front, I'm going to do a Ninja air fryer review real fast.
Sure.
I don't know who's new to the Ninja air fryer, or if you've been a Ninja air fryer or air fryer, it doesn't have to be Ninja, but an air fryer, chef for the last decade or however long they've been around. But I am brand new to them. We got ours in Christmas. I bought one for my wife, and we have used it. Let's see, it's what, January what?
21st?
January 21st, and we've used this thing a half a dozen times already.
Nice.
And it is, every time we pull something out of it, my wife's the first one to say, "Holy shit, this is the best whatever we're eating I've ever tasted."
Yes.
It is phenomenal.
They are phenomenal.
And we bought a smaller one, and already I'm thinking, man, if we get a bigger home someday, I'm going to have to upgrade.
Yeah.
'Cause this thing is killer.
We got ours 2 years ago. And from reheating pizza, I make raw pork chops in it. And phenomenal the whole way around.
That's one of the meals that she can't wait.
Oh,
because
dude.
It used to be a joke where my wife is an exceptional cook. I'm not. There's no if, ands, or buts. But she always had problems with what did you just say?
Pork chops.
Pork chops. She just had a problem drying them out, and we cannot wait to try them.
Dude, it will change. You're never gonna want a pork chop another way.
Yeah,
they're that good coming out of there.
Oh, can't wait.
So we've had ours for 2 years. Use the shit out of it. One of our Christmas presents this year is we have one. Ours that we've always had is about that tall, maybe about that big around. We got for Christmas from her mom and dad it looks like a little oven, it is huge. To where like you can do like full rotisserie chickens and shit in this thing. To where we've been using it for all kinds of stuff. What's funny is we bought a brand new oven a year ago, to where it gets like half use now.
Yeah, right.
You know that we use the top of the stove way more than the inside of it, unless we're making like a huge large quantity of something
Sure.
that the air fryer doesn't make sense for. But yeah, air fryers for sure. So definitely a fan.
So what we've cooked in it so far is chicken wings
Yes.
and chicken tenders. So the chicken wings were non-battered. These things, there's no breading on them. These things just came from the freezer, giant 4-pound bag. And the recipe that I found for my model of air fryer, make sure if you have one, or you just got one, or you're just going to go get one, that you look up your model and the settings for your model, because there's a lot of different air fryers.
Sure.
So I found the setting for, actually, they weren't frozen. I found a interesting way to thaw the chicken wings out of the freezer. Obviously, the best way is to just let them sit on the counter. Actually, the best way is to put them in the fridge overnight. So that way they're not frozen the next morning.
Yes.
That is the best way. And then you put them right in the air fryer. But if you don't, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but if you don't know what to do and you got these frozen chicken wings, but you want to cook them, you put them into these frozen wings, you put them, the frozen pieces into a Ziploc bag.
Uh-huh.
You put them into your sink. You fill up your sink with a little bit of water, and you might have to put something on top, like a pan or something, to keep them in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep changing the water like every, 20 minutes. And after about 45 minutes or less, maybe they said about a half an hour it should be ready, but I found about 45 minutes later, they're ready to go in.
Yep.
Thawed out in water.
Yeah.
So that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
And then 2 pounds right in my air fryer, because that's what the recipe was, and that's what it fits real nice. It was like 24 minutes, and it was 12 minutes. Open it up, flip them around, move them around, put it back in. It finishes out the other 12 minutes, because 24 and 24, 12 and 12 is 24.
Yeah.
And then they're done, and they were absolutely fabulous. You put them in whatever your wing sauce you've created.
Yep.
And go to town. It was fabulous. We used Red Hot with butter.
Yep.
Literally, it's if you want to do Red Hot, it's like 3/4 cup of butter.
Yep.
Into a cup of Red Hot sauce.
Yep.
And you melt the butter first.
Right. Then you mix.
But I found something out. The first time I ever made the buffalo sauce from the Red Hot. So you melt your butter, and I did this about 3 minutes in advance. Like, I was 3 minutes ahead of when my wings were going to get done. So then you melt the butter in the microwave, and you get it doesn't take much, by the way. You can really scorch that shit. And so you get your butter, and I poured it into my Red Hot, and I'm mixing it all up. It's all perfect. And then I just let it sit. Do you know what happens?
Starts coagulating.
The butter starts to turn back into butter.
Right.
So I'm stirring it, and I'm like, I come back to it, and I'm like, holy shit, it's like chunked up all up. I'm like, this looks disgusting. And then my wife comes by, she goes, oh yeah. She goes, yeah, you fucked that up. But she goes, not to be alarmed. As soon as you pour that on the wings, it's going to all melt, and it's going to be wonderful again.
Yes.
I said, so the second time we did it, I made sure to do my sauce a little later.
Yeah. I'll throw out one
Yeah.
tip here, since we're talking chicken wings.
But by the way, those wings came out superb.
Yes. Whether it's chicken wings, pork chops, anything that you're going to do, one of the things that I've been reading about, and I actually have done it twice in the last week, is brining. Have you ever brined anything before?
I have not been educated in the brine.
So it's so simple to do. It's going to sound so funny. You can use regular, like bottled water. From what I've read, I prefer to use like a seltzer water, so that it's just basically carbonated water.
Yes.
So like there's no sugar, nothing like that. There's no flavor to it. You literally take the water, put in, if you like, a little bit of garlic. If you don't like the garlic, leave the garlic out.
Family loves garlic.
Loves garlic. A little bit, just a little, like get the, you know the lemons you can buy that have the juice. Just give it a couple good healthy squirts.
You mean the plastic lemons with the juice?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then you put in like a 1/4 tablespoon of salt, right? Room temp.
Where are we putting this?
In a bowl.
Okay.
Okay. And then you want your water to be warm. You don't want hot water. You don't want quite room temperature.
The bubbly water needs to be warm.
Yeah.
How do you get the bubbly water warm?
Microwave.
Okay.
So
Got it.
That's what I did. So then you mix your stuff in, right? And then you take your meat and you put it in, and you just make sure that it's submerged fully submerged in this.
Any meat or a specific meat?
I mean, I've done it with chicken, pork, and beef so far, and it's been fantastic for all three of them. What you do is you just put it in there, just leave it in there, and leave it sit on the counter. You don't put it back in the fridge, nothing like that. Okay? Now, if you're going to go, you get 1 hour, and you're going to be fine. Now, there are people that like to brine longer. If you're going to go longer than an hour, leave it out for the first hour, put it in the fridge for up to 5 more. Don't go over 6 hours. Okay? If you go over 6 hours, it can start to kind of make your meat fall apart and stuff a little bit. It will be the juiciest, most delicious version of that meat you've ever had.
Really?
Yes. What'll happen is the carbonation actually creates like pockets in your meat. They're small and you can't see them, but that is where your juice reservoirs are going to go. And then the garlic is for a little bit of added flavor, and the lemon juice will actually begin the decomposition process of your meat to where it breaks it down a little bit and it makes it a little less firm, and it makes it easier to heat thoroughly by having that expansion that's in there. And it works fantastic.
So it's not tiny bubbles in the water; it's tiny pockets in your meat.
But that's what you get from it.
Tiny pockets.
Tiny pockets. So yeah, give brining a shot. I mean, it's simple.
I might have to re-ask you the whole scenario again, because I've already forgotten what you said, other than bubbly water and salt.
Garlic and lemon juice.
Oh,
4 things.
yeah, lemon juice. Okay.
That's it. I mean, it's so simple to do. Now, if you want to get crazy, you can start looking up recipes, make your own. If
But
you want to
wouldn't
put
the
different
lemon
stuff in
juice? That just seems like that would be overpowering.
No, I'm not telling you to dump the entire thing in. 2 squirts. 2 squirts of
you
lemon
like-
juice. Yep, and that's it. I mean, and you're talking about a nice big bowl full of water to where you don't ever taste the lemon juice, nothing.
Last air fryer question. We have not done this, but it is on our list. Other than pork chops,
Yeah.
steaks. Have you done a steak? No,
I can't bring myself to do it.
because you like grilling them.
Yes, I have a technique that I use the same time, every time, easily repeatable for the way that I cook steak. There are a lot of things in this world I can't do. I can cook the living asshole out of a steak.
Yeah, I can cook a good steak as well, but I think I want to at least try it once. I'm just saying, the air fryer makes shit taste really fucking good.
It does, and it might be incredible. To me, I don't know if I could reach a level of incredible, at least for my own personal, the way that I like them, that is going to be any better.
You're going to tell
than what
me
I do on the grill.
brining a steak and then grilling it in your air fryer wouldn't be like kapow?
I'm saying it might be. What I'm saying is I know that it is kapow on a grill, right? Just different things. But like I know pork chops.
But it could be double kapow.
Right, but like you mentioned pork chops. I don't like doing pork chops on a grill
Oh, I would never.
because you're all temperature reliant at that point, and you're really
You
trying.
would
like
dry
you
the
said,
fuck out of them unless you were on top of it.
Well, you'd have to.
I mean, literally laying on top of it, burning your belly.
No, you have to go. You go high heat for a minute on each side. Turn your heat down. You have to slow cook them in there, but you still have to use your thermometer, check your temperature to make sure that it comes out right. I don't like doing that with all that, so I'm not a big fan of that. But with steaks, I cook my steaks like rare, medium rare, like the very
no
most
wonder
done.
you don't want to use the air fryer.
Right, because I don't want a
You're
brown
like,
steak.
man, they were in there for. I just got this air fryer all dirty for 3 minutes of my cooking.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I get where you're coming, but I like my steaks a little bit more done.
Oh. Well, then I'll give you my last little tip on the air fryer.
Let's do it.
Use a piece of foil in the bottom of it. Tear off a piece of
For faster cleanup?
for faster cleanup. If you have anything on your meat at all, it won't stick to it. To where once you use your air fryer a lot, you will notice that things will start to stick to it. If you use the shit out of it, wash it. Use the shit out of it, wash it. We saw it happen. So I just one day was like, you know what? I don't feel like washing this thing like that. I thought that it was fantastic. I liked the way that it cooked with it in there. It didn't hinder anything. Like I said, cleanup super easy. It's a good time.
That's a good idea because what I found is we're using it so often that like I use it once, I look in, it's not really all that messy.
Right.
But like after 2, I'm going to clean it after 2 for sure.
Agreed.
But I mean, the very first time we cooked, I forget what it was. Oh, we threw some cordon bleus in there.
Oh yeah, they do good.
And those little cordon bleus were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But they, they have cheese in them, and some of those, like anything that has cheese in it, sometimes they pop.
Yeah.
And then the cheese was all on the bottom, so that needed cleaned out after that round.
Right. Homemade French fries. Have you done those in there yet?
No, we were excited to do those.
Dude, amazing.
Yeah.
A little bit of olive oil so that they're not real bad for you, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
a little bit of salt when they're done. Woo!
Yeah, and that's the other thing I forgot to mention when we doing the wings. First time I ever like put the wings into a bowl and then like poured the oil over them, and then you like mix the wings up with the oil, which I've never done before, and those things are freaking frozen, and your hands are hurting so bad. but then you get them all oiled up, and you wash your hands, and you dump them in, and the oil obviously keeps them from sticking to your pan.
That's good stuff.
But it is good.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have a little bit of politics.
Can I jump in? Can I?
Yeah.
Warbucks interrupts.
Yes.
I do have one topic that I want to throw out there before we get to that, and then I have one to finish.
Okay.
That's super short. The UFC. You know I'm a huge UFC fan.
Yes.
So just a little bit
I've actually heard some buzz lately.
So a lot of the buzz of what you're hearing is
Conor McGregor
is fighting on Saturday. He is the largest draw. They're fighting at Fight Island.
I like Conor, but he's such a cocky asshole.
Oh, he is, but he fits the role perfect. And he's fucking really, really good, right?
You still think he's really, really good?
I think he's going to be the best version of him we've ever seen this Saturday.
Good.
That's what I honestly believe. I think that this guy has gotten past the money and still loves the fame, but he realizes that to hold on to the enigma,
he's got to get good.
No, he's got to be able to beat. Dude, you throw anybody that's not elite at him, he's going to eat their lunch anytime. But when you have him not trained at peak performance and then put him in against the elite, he's going to get eaten. Like Khabib ate him. Like it wasn't even a fight, you know? There are people that say that Khabib lost one of the rounds. Khabib didn't lose a round. Khabib beat the shit out of him. But this version of him, I've been following him on Instagram and all of his training and the stuff he's changed. So Saturday's card is stacked too, to the hilt. It's going to be awesome. Seriously, it's going to, if you don't watch UFC or you're just getting into it, Saturday's card is one you're going to want to watch. There's all kinds of shit going on. It's going to be sweet. Another thing that they did that I thought was awesome is the president of the UFC, Dana White, is a huge Donald Trump fan. You know, came out and spoke at the Republican National Convention, everything else. Kind of his little was, I don't know if you heard about this. Was
I have not.
Yesterday on Inauguration Day, he decided, we're over here on Fight Island. The timing seems to line up pretty good. They had a free UFC card yesterday.
To take the eyes off of the inauguration?
Correct. To give people that didn't want to watch it something to enjoy.
do. Yes.
So they put on a good show, and it was fun. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then the last thing on the UFC that I can't wait to see what this is UFC is probably the largest mainstream sport that you still have the pay-per-view involved in. There's no pay-per-view football, right?
No.
It's all on national television. Anybody can watch it. You still have
it's kind of pay-per-view. You have to buy ESPN now. You can't watch all your football on.
Okay, but even if every UFC fight, if Conor was fighting on ESPN Saturday, it would probably own every rating on the planet.
Yes.
Right? But it's a pay-per-view. So one of the things that's become huge through all the different methods is streaming, right? Why pay $60 to watch it in high def when you can watch it in 720 for free? Well, Dana White came out, and he's not saying what, but he said that he's got a great big surprise for all the streamers out there and that it's all going to come to an end. So keep your eyes out. If you are a streamer, pay attention to what's going on because it sounds like they're going to be coming for some folks. Because it's killing basically, they haven't had fans in the stands for a year. So their bread and butter is the advertising money for the ones that are on regular TV and then the pay-per-view money.
So what you're saying is those folks that were cheating the system a little bit, they're going to be shutting the doors.
Well, I think that they're going to find a way to stop something. The odds of stopping all of this are pretty close to zero. I mean,
I don't know enough about it or how it's done, so I don't know.
What you get a lot that is interesting is a lot of the sites that host this are foreign. So like there's a lot of them out of Europe that do it to where, you know, everything's crikey. We'll be right back after this commercial.
It's not my rope. It must be your rope.
Right. So it's good stuff. But keep your eyes out for the streaming on that. So
yeah.
That's just a little bit on the UFC. I won't go down a rabbit hole on anything about it, but those are three things I thought you'd want to know. So
yeah, so screeching back to that moment in time where you were talking about Dana White and the inauguration.
Yes.
A lot of people, well, I should say not a lot of people, the left and the liberals were just up in arms. Trump went to Florida for the inauguration.
Okay.
Just absolutely. This is the first president, and since I don't know when,
1869.
Yada, 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 that wasn't here to congratulate and shake the hand of his competitor. Why the fuck do you think? I'm going to tell you what. You call me dog shit and do everything you can for 4 years of my term You attempt to impeach me once, and now you're going to attempt to impeach me twice. Both are going to fail. The first one failed. The second one will fail as well.
We hope.
No, it will. I'm going to tell you why in a minute.
Okay.
You absolutely smear my name and shit for 4 years, have every media agency just completely, and then towards at the very end of my succession, I can't even talk. You absolutely shut down every form of social media that I'm on and everything, and then I'm supposed to be a good loser. I'm going to tell you what, if it was me on a smaller scale, if you treat me like shit for 4 fucking straight years and then expect me to shake your hand and be like, good, and then cheat me out of my election anyways,
Yeah.
and then you want to shake my hand, want me to shake your hand and say congratulations? Fuck you. I love how the media just wants to make him the worst person in the world.
They always
about
do.
everything.
Right.
They do everything they can to make this man flat. And when he's not, and when he decides to fuck you, and I'm getting out of town, they just want to smear him so badly. And there's only one reason why they're trying to impeach him a second time.
Yes.
So he doesn't come back in 2024.
Correct.
That is the only reason.
Right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be wasting the fucking time. But they are wasting the fucking time. If you go back and watch the videos, and I watched this the other day, there was a guy, my wife pulled it up, she goes, check this out. You can hear the protests before Antifa and other supremacy groups started breaking shit down. You can hear the actual Trump supporters in the back yelling, "Stop breaking the doors, Antifa." They were yelling this. There was so
Are
many.
you talking about the Capitol Hill
Yes.
thing? Yeah.
So what happened is, and what happens, these people, Antifa, other extremist groups, they know there's going to be this peaceful protest.
Yeah.
We're all going to go up to the Capitol, and they're like, well, fuck this. I'm going to dress up as a Trump supporter. I'm going to the front of the line. I'm going to start breaking shit. This is exactly what happened, and I guarantee you, and you can hear these on multiple tapes. This just wasn't 1 5-second bit. This was like the guy played a video, and he kept playing different parts, and all you keep hearing is people telling these people to stop.
Right.
Trump supporters yelling, "Stop, Antifa." And they take extreme advantage. It's one of the exact same things that happened when Floyd got killed, George Floyd. There was these peaceful protests, and these extremist groups go out there and start riots. They take the opportunity from what should be peaceful and make it not peaceful.
Right.
And you can't. It was not Trump's fault that happened. What all did I have wrote down here? Yeah, the moment he was sworn in, he was scrutinized like no other president in history.
That's
Zero.
fair. True.
Falsely impeached once, and they are attempting to do it again because basically groups like Antifa took center stage in the protests on the 6th. In my opinion, the Trump supporters did protest peacefully. It was the other groups that did not. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say once the doors weren't down and the doors were open.
I'm not even going to say every one of them. I mean, there are Trump supporters that go to the extreme as well.
Sure. I'm going to just like it's like the shiny fishing lure. You throw it in the water, there's a bunch of peaceful fish, and then as soon as they see that shiny shit flying around, they all go for it.
Right.
It's that kind of mentality. You get these assholes breaking down these doors. They finally get in. Yeah, there's going to be a few other people other than Antifa and other groups that go in as well.
Right.
The doors are open, but it doesn't mean that they're the ones shooting people and breaking shit.
Well, couple things to go back to, just while we're touching on them. So the number one thing that they're trying to impeach him for now is for the speech that he gave.
Yes. Invoking.
Right. That's what they're telling you that he did. Now, what you're also going to find, and whether you like him or not, this is something that you can look up on your own. What they keep doing on all of these news outlets is they're telling you what they say Trump said.
Right.
None of them are showing the actual speech.
Right.
If you watch the speech, or even if you don't want to watch the speech because you don't like him, read the transcript. Everything's about being peacefully protesting.
Yes.
If you want to go down to the Capitol and peacefully protest, You have that right.
The worst thing he said was, we have to be strong.
But that's not bad.
He did not say we have to go be violent and break shit and push our way into the Capitol.
Right. And then the other thing that he did that nobody, you said everybody's making a big deal about the fact that he wasn't at an inauguration. He gave a speech at the Air Force Base right before he got on the plane and headed for Mar-a-Lago. Can't even get the words out. And he said that he wasn't there because he could not support the inauguration of an election that he felt was full of corruption.
Exactly.
And then what they don't tell you that he did, or when they do, they don't give you any detail on it, is he explained why he wasn't going, and then he left a letter for Biden in the Oval Office on his desk. Biden himself came out and said that he wouldn't give the details of the letter, but it was a very heartfelt and encouraging letter from a supportive American. Those are Biden's words. Good. That's not me paraphrasing. That's not me making something up. So what Trump did, he said, look, I don't agree with this. I feel like this was stolen.
Yes.
That being said, you are now the president. I want things to go well under you. I hope that the country thrives under you. I wish the very best for you. I hope that America is going to be fantastic under your administration. I think that there has to be some gray area in this country, once again, to where you can disagree with something on one end, but at the same time be hopeful that even though you disagree with the side that's winning, that's won the elections, however you want to misconstrue what happened there, but they're still supportive and they still are looking out for America first. The other side is not portraying that at all. They're talking about things like deprogram. I mean, have you seen this from Katie? Katie Couric ruined her career this week. Do you see that? She said that the 75 million people that voted for Trump need to all be deprogrammed. Is this Russia or South Korea or 1940s Germany? You're trying to deprogram, deplatform, silence people that think differently than you? That's one of the great things about this country is that you and I can think differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to come to absolute insanity, but that's what everybody's pushing for. They said 500 publishing companies said that they will not publish a single book over the next forever years that's written by a member of the Trump administration. I think Obama's got like 4 autobiographies out at this point in time. I mean, like things like that.
So what they're doing is they're going against our Constitution. They're silencing people that they don't want to hear from.
Right.
That is communist.
It's a propaganda machine.
It is communist. It is fucking communist actions.
Right.
You can't fucking do that in America.
No.
And if you do, we're going to become a communist country. And if that's what you fucking want, then you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What Jake just said was absolutely 100% spot on. We have the biggest hot red button topics in the country from the left and the right. You have to have some common ground. You have to give a little bit. Both sides have to give a little bit. Otherwise, we will be divided, and there will be some sort of civil fucking war at some point.
Right.
10 years from now, whenever the fucking dam breaks, who fucking knows? It is so ridiculous that and I truly believe that the liberals have divided this country with the hatred the hatred they've pushed for Trump. It has completely that anything that this man stands for, they absolutely the whole groups. Obviously, it's not everybody, but 80% have just and they've separated where there is no gray area at all.
Right.
They hate it, and like you just said, Katie Couric. Yeah, everybody that voted for Trump needs to go in the freaking wash bucket and get cleaned. You know, that is not how our country works. Jake agrees with one thing. I agree with another. We will still, at some point, whether it's even agreeing to disagree, we will say, all right, that's enough. Let's move on to something else.
Right.
Because
whether it's some political, sports, it doesn't matter. We're talking about disagreements in general, right?
Right.
Right.
But you have to find some common ground somewhere. You have to.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the, just like I said, the hottest of red button topics, you've got to find some common ground to unify this country.
Yeah.
To keep using this race card. Every time you bring up that Trump is a racist, all you're doing is invoking people that want to hear that and there will be a knee-jerk reaction.
They're gaslighting. Is all they're doing.
Yeah, all you're doing is throwing. That is not how you unite a country. You unite a country by finding common ground and easing the tensions between all sides.
You want to hear something that I think might shock you just a little bit? I don't think the problem in any of this is Joe Biden. I honestly believe that Joe Biden is a lifelong Democrat that has a lot of conviction in the things that he says and does. He opposes some of the super aggressive, crazy left-wing ideals that they're trying to push. To me, the people that are the real problems are the Mitch McConnells who will flip-flop. He supports the president for 4 years until he knows the president's not getting in, and now he wants to be part of impeaching him. He's trying to jump in sides and wanting to work with the Democrats and stuff like that. You got people like him and Ocasio-Cortez, who all she wants to do is gaslight everybody and light this entire place on fire. You know what I mean? They're people that run on complete double standards for everything, and that's where the problem is with those kind of career politicians. The power has to be taken back away from those people.
Exactly. The last thing I have wrote down here is, where are our age limits on these motherfucking government jobs? Nancy fucking Pelosi is 80.
Term limits, not age.
80. I don't care if it's term limits or age. If you've been in there, the majority of our country works until they're 65, if they're lucky, and they get out and they retire. That's the goal of most middle-class Americans. I work till I'm early 60s, and I'm going to go retire and end the rest of my 20 years off in the sunset. Why would she even want to be in there till she's 80? I can't.
Power hungry.
You have to, at some point in your life, go do something fucking else. You should not be able to be in there past 75. I mean, that's 10 years past the average retirement rate.
I don't want to put an age on it, though, because with the way that medicine and stuff is progressing, people at 75 now aren't what people at 75 were even when we were kids.
It's still horseshit.
25 years from now, people that are 75 aren't going to be nothing like what they are today. But
I'm telling you what,
but
when
term
you're-
limits
when you're-
change it.
when you're in
term
there-
limits forces change.
When you're in that seat at 75 and you've been in there 25 years, you should be gone.
What I'm saying is this. If you get in as a representative at 25, okay, if you can be there till you're 75, that's still 50 years.
Yes.
If you get in when you're 40 and you have to get out when you're 75, that's 35 years.
That's still
And the
way
number-
too long.
And the number, that's what I'm saying. It's not about their age. It's about how long they're there. All the money that they take from special interest groups that they have in their pocket, that they're not going to do anything against these particular groups because they're throwing PAC money in their pockets, that's what the problem is. So if you keep turning these people over, maximum number of terms, 8 years total for a senator, 8 years total for a representative, and then you're done.
I would even go as far as to say double the term for like the president. 16 years, that's way too long. That's more than enough. You want to give 4 terms to one of these guys that's still going to remove all of them out of there tomorrow.
I don't like that. I like the term limit that we have. I 8 years for president, and then it changes over. I think that that's good enough. And I mean,
No.
I don't think that people are
No,
built
no.
to do that job for 16 years.
I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about everybody else.
Okay.
So, House of Representatives, the senators, all that shit, maximum 4 terms. That's 16 years. That's a good career. It's time to go do something else.
Yeah. Well, we can only hope that it happens. There's a bunch of people that are proponents of that. There's a bunch of people that aren't. So we'll see how that turns out.
But here's the fucking problem. You can't have the people of the United States have to be able to vote for this.
Right.
And they need to be able to make this happen. It shouldn't be up to the people that are deciding about themselves.
I think that there are more and more topics that need to go to the general public for a vote that shouldn't just be handled by Congress.
Those topics that revolve around term limits for the House of Representatives and the senators and all that shit, that needs to be voted by the people.
But even like some of these immigration laws, they need to be voted on by the people.
Yes.
I mean, it's scary that with a flick of the pen yesterday, there's now 11 million undocumented illegal people in this country that are now going to be counted in our census and towards all these states, which determines who has how many seats and whatever houses of. I mean, what states have all the illegals? I mean, California's number one. We're going to give California more power and more seats in the House of Representatives. Like, those are the kind of things that we can't have. No. I mean, you just bought 11 million new votes for the Democratic Party. It's exactly what they're trying to do. Like, those are the kind of things where the people have to be able to say, you know what? That's not what we want.
It's not what we want. And I'm going to tell you what. After this election and how it went and what you just said just now, there needs to be some serious tightening of the belt about how we do elections and about how this whole process hangs together, because it is fucked.
Well, what you're going to see happen now that you're not going to hear the left-wing media talk about, because they're a little bit afraid of what's coming down the pipe, is what's going to start happening is with executive orders that are done like this, you are going to see lawsuits that are going to be coming up now against the administration that will go to the Supreme Court. And that's the last part that the Republicans have the control of as a group of conservatives that are in there as the judges, to where if they deem, hey, you might have put that decree in place, you know, that what's the term for it when the president just signs something. My brain's betraying me right now. The
I don't know.
Legislative, judicial, and executive order. To sign an executive order saying this. Basically, when they come back and say, yeah, you can't sign an executive order that says that, then it all goes away and it has to go through other channels to get passed. So hopefully it comes out okay. I'm rooting for America through all this. I hope it doesn't fall apart the way that we want it to. I mean, if you look at the list of things that have happened already today, it's not good. I don't know if you've seen some of the things that he's already done. He did the 11 million people that are now in the census. He's already shut down the Keystone State Pipeline, which is going to cost probably 50,000 jobs or more, because we're no longer doing that. It's going to push our oil prices up. So enjoy that this coming summer, paying $4 a gallon again. It's coming. If you don't think it's coming, please do some reading and see it, because it's happening. There's a whole list of things.
Yeah. So for those of you that didn't know, we were self-dependent and self-reliant on oil.
Correct.
During Trump's 4 years.
For the first time since automobiles became a thing.
Right. Great thing. Jobs in our pocket. In our country's pocket. And now they're going to flip that right back around.
Right.
Where we're going back to being more dependent on foreign oil, and it's fucking bullshit.
Yep.
So I hope you all enjoyed your cheap gas, because, yeah, unfortunately, it's going through the roof. There was something I was going to touch on. And the one thing you won't hear myself or Jake say, like a lot of the immature... what do I want to say? What is it? Liberals did 4 years ago, saying, not my president.
Right.
Not my president. Not my president. You will not hear one of us say that. For one, we're more mature than that. For two, we know that in the end, even if Joe Biden fucks a bunch of shit up, it's probably not going to affect our day-to-day to where we are absolutely miserable and lose our job and all this other bullshit.
We hope not.
I mean, let's hope not. We're smarter than that. And you should have been too 4 years ago, instead of just running your fucking mouths, because you sound like whiny cunts. Now that's a term straight from the UK.
There you go.
Whiny cunts.
Dog cunt.
They throw the word cunt out there quite easily.
Them and the Australians.
Yeah.
You know Australians will call their buddies a dog cunt. Can you imagine if one of your buddies walked up to you and was like, "Hey, what's up, dog cunt?" I'd be like, "So we got to fight now."
Yeah.
So there's that.
I'm gonna punch you,
like,
if you don't mind.
Why would you call me that?
Yeah. So it's pretty pathetic, and I hope you've all grown up since 4 years ago, which I know you haven't.
Yeah.
But good luck. We'll see what happens. Hopefully there's no civil war.
Yep.
I like how Biden's already like, I'm giving everybody $2,000 real quick, so you think I'm the best.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's going to do. He's going to go down through all of these things that we don't agree with, and he's going to be like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and then the very last one is going to be, oh, and everybody gets $2,000. So they're like, oh, yeah, look, he gave us $2,000.
Yeah, it's a smoke
Classic
screen.
smoke screen.
Yeah. Did you say smoke screen?
I did.
I said smoke screen.
I know.
So before we leave, you mentioned this, and it just kind of went right over my head. What is this with the 11 million illegals?
So what has happened is he signed an executive order last night already that the 11 million undocumented illegal aliens that are in this country are now going to be counted in our census. So what that's going to do...
So they're basically, that means they can vote, right?
Not yet, but they're being added to our population to where it's going to shift power from... look at Ohio, for instance. I would not say that we have a huge illegal alien problem here.
No.
They're here. Trust me. I know places you can go find a whole bunch of them if you want to. But on a whole, it's not the same widespread volume that you have in other states. The states that you have these in are all Democratic states. So what they're going to do is this 11 million people being brought in. I mean, you're talking, that's what, an 8% increase in the population, something like that, to where now these people are going to be considered part of this, to where California might get 3 or 4 more seats that go into the House of Representatives. Shit like that, to where it just skews everything. It makes it that much harder.
The seats are determined on the size of your state?
For the House of Representatives, it takes the entire population, it divides it out by 435, and then that's how many you get for your state. Minimum of 1. Okay. So every state gets 1 rep at least, and then the rest of them are divided up. So,
and you believe this is a strategical counter for the next election?
This ain't what I believe. It's a point of fact.
Okay.
I mean, you can read anything that
I just
explains
want for our listeners to understand what that means. So they did that for the next election.
But then the other thing that is part of this is that there is now, for all 11 million of these people, there's going to be a review process in place. Have you been working? Have you been in trouble? Do you have kids? That's one of the things that's on there, which is funny because you can't ask anybody if they have kids for a job interview, but it's going to be part of this. That's going to take these 11 million people that are already here. Hilarious. They thought that it was a good thing that they said, well, you had to be here on January 1st of this year. So not for people that are coming in now. Okay, whatever. But it's going to fast track their citizenship to where if you check the boxes, you go through the courses, you pass the test, you become a citizen, to where...
Oh, and by the way, if we do this, you better vote Democrat.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. Look who gave you your citizenship. Donald Trump wasn't going to give it to you,
right?
But Uncle Joe did. That's what they're doing. They're trying to buy these votes. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can we end on one little light note?
Yes.
I
would love that.
It's like 45 seconds of a light note.
Yeah.
As we get into the time of year... As we get into the time of year where a lot of TV shows are going off, not a lot of stuff's coming back, you're always looking for something to watch on TV, right? There's 3 categories that I covered real quick, and just one show in each. So if you have premium channels on your cable and you have Showtime, there is a show on right now called Your Honor. It's got Bryan Cranston in it. I'm not giving anything away about it. It is phenomenal. There's 8 episodes out right now. The season's still going on, so if you have on demand, you can get caught up on it. Fantastic. Definitely recommend it, or from whatever streaming service you use. Your Honor is super, super good. Again, Bryan Cranston is the main character from Breaking Bad, and he's fantastic in this. It's another great... There's little flashes that you see where you're like, is that Walt? Was that Walt right there? You know, from the way his character is, so that's great. On regular network television, Clarice. Have you seen the promos for Clarice yet?
I have.
It's basically a piggyback off of the Silence of the Lambs.
I have.
I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. I hope that they do it right, but it's one of those that I think has the potential to be phenomenal or phenomenally bad.
I am not. I put that book away a long time ago. I thought it was a great movie. I don't want to watch the series.
The only thing I will say to that, because I kind of have that same feeling, is if we felt that way about shows picking back off of something else, we never would have watched Better Call Saul. And Better Call Saul is amazing.
Yes, it is good.
So that's a spinoff.
I think that's apples and oranges, my friend.
Yes.
I mean, they have the same characters. You can't... I mean, like, okay, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, they literally had the same characters.
Right.
In the same movies. The same actors and everything. Yeah. This is completely new.
I'm just saying. And then the last one, for those of you who are big on the Netflix scene.
Yes.
The Night Stalker.
Okay.
If you like true crime at all... if you go back to the 70s and 80s in Southern California, they actually had 3 different actually 4 high-profile serial killers from that time. It's one of the serial killer cradles of all time. I mean, it's almost unimaginable that these 4 people are operating in the same area over the same years. The way that they do this documentary, I think it's 4 parts. It is phenomenal.
Welcome to the gallows.
Yeah, that's right. So it's super good. He actually did get to make the... He did get to ride the lightning eventually.
That's right.
But it's fantastic. If you're looking for something to binge watch, it's a 4-hour watch, but you can get it done in an afternoon. But once you start, it's one that you're like, all right, next.
I've got a couple for you.
Yeah, fire.
So this was not my idea, but my wife was always very taken in with Princess Diana.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of different...
movies and series and
series about what are they?
The royal
The
family?
monarchy, the royal family in Britain and the UK. So the one that she started watching was called The Crown. And she just finished it the other day, and there'll be some more coming along.
Yeah.
But she got caught up, watched all 4 or 5 seasons, whatever it was. This is not a documentary or a show for everybody, but I found it quite interesting.
good.
If you like history, and they said that this is, from what they've understood, this is about as accurate as they could get.
Right.
They show it from when Queen Elizabeth is young to now it ended, she's probably like mid-50s.
Yeah.
Prince Charles and Diana are about to get divorced.
Yeah.
That's where it ended. Pretty fantastic show. It's slow, but if you're an adult and you don't mind the dialogue, like a kid could not handle this at all.
Right.
Too much talking, no action.
Sure.
But good shit if you like history and you're at all interested in the monarchy. The one that I've only watched just recently, 3 episodes, and I'm going to tell you what, it's turned into more of a comedy for me, and maybe that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the history of swear words.
I watched the very first episode on the F word.
Yeah, so it's funny. Episode 1 is all about fuck, where it originated from, how it's used in the history of the word, basically. The second episode's about shit, and then the third one's about bitch. I haven't got to the fourth one, but
Yeah.
it is just hilarious. There's actually people out there. They work for like the dictionary shit, and like they actually have careers on these type of things. Like they know everything you could ever know about these words.
Right.
It cracks me up, and
So good.
and then you have like other comedians or other actors or actresses that are kind of, some of them you know, some of them you don't.
Yeah.
But they're all talking about how they would use these words.
Sure.
And when you can use these words, and you better not use this word on me or in this context.
Right.
And it's quite funny. But yeah, the opening, don't get me wrong, the opening, if you're not bothered by swear words and you use them yourselves, then this will be your cup of tea. But yeah, the first one is all about fuck, and they must say fuck about 120 times.
Yeah.
But it's fucking hilarious. So
It is. It's pretty good. That's good
I
stuff.
laughed a lot.
Good. That's good stuff.
So I'm going to keep up with that.
So let's get down to brass tacks.
Let's do it. We're going to set sail.
Yes. So just like always when we end our shows, now more than ever with all the things that are going on, please pay attention to your mental health. If you're struggling with anything in the realm of mental health, please don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call 1-800-622-4357. Somebody on the other end of the line will be there to help you.
Absolutely. So if you're having bad thoughts about hurting yourself or others, or just can't kick that substance abuse problem, please call the number. Somebody will be there to help you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you again real soon.
Pip, pip.
Cheerio.